What's up guys, you're watching TUGGtv and welcome back to another episode of Gear Chronicles. So in this episode I want to talk about my weapon of choice in the world of extended range guitars. That is this is the Jackson JS22-7. Now the Jackson JS22-7 is one among the most popular selling guitars of Jackson's in the 7-string guitar range. And also one of the most affordable. I happened to buy this roughly about a year ago. I bought it from Music House, which is on Brigade Road in Bangalore. Paid approximately 25,000 rupees inclusive of shipping for this thing. It is a guitar that is still in production and available in various shops. It's also available online, listed on Bajaao and at a price of approximately 23 or 24,000 rupees. Now quickly flashing the specifications of this guitar on the screen for you to see. The first thing I would want to highlight is that a lot of Indian websites, especially Bajaao, has listed this guitar to have a basswood body. However, if you take a look at the specs on Jackson's official website, this guitar comes with a poplar body. Now poplar is very similar to basswood in terms of its tonal qualities, however it's a little harder. This guitar at the moment isn't completely stock. I have changed a lot of things and made a couple of modifications, which we will talk about later in this video. Before that, if you are watching this video for the first time, be sure to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button along with the bell icon for more updates from us. So let's get into it. The first thing I have to say that I like about this guitar, without a doubt, is Jackson's high point, and also the thing that convinced me to buy that guitar, and this is the compound fretboard. Now for those of you who are wondering, Jackson's guitars come with a compound fretboard, and what that essentially is that every guitar, the fingerboard has a particular radius. Now depending on that radius, it could mean that you have a sort of a chunky feel to it, or if it is flatter, it gives you a very slick feel. This, however, has a 12-inch radius up top here, and as you move up the frets, it flattens out to a 16-inch radius, which means that when you're playing this guitar, you've got a nice chunky feel for your riff work and your chord work, and as you move up, it's slick and smooth and pretty fun for you to do all your shredding and solo work as well. And I also like the fact that it has been done very subtly. It's not like a very noticeable change. It's almost like it's there but not there. And that's what really stands out to me. The second thing I really like about this guitar is the way it is shaped. Now, not only does this look absolutely stunning, especially in the satin finish, but it is extremely ergonomic. So you can sit it down in the standard position. You can also have it in the classical position. And it sort of feels very easy and very homely to use. The body is nice and compact, but at the same time there's plenty of sustain and density to its tone, and in fact it sounds massive. The third thing I like about this guitar, I would have to flip it over now. I don't have it open at the moment, but this cavity has plenty of space in it. So if you're someone like me, if you want to do some modifications, if you want to upgrade your pickups, maybe you're going in for a pair of active pickups, there's plenty of space for you to house a battery here in case you want to change your pots. No problem at all. The tuners have been a topic of discussion and debate for quite some time. So when I was doing my research, when I went across multiple blogs, I did read a lot of articles saying that these tuners are, well, technically they suck and they're absolute crap and they don't hold a lot of tune. And I was also recommended to change the tuners the moment I get the guitar. Now, I do not know if Jackson has stepped up their game ever since, or because it's sort of technically new, but I am perfectly fine with these tuners. I have no problems with it. For the purpose I'm using this guitar for, they are A-OK. They hold tune perfectly well. I'm also somebody who changes tuning very often, so I have nothing to complain about. There is a possibility that these tuners might start giving me problems maybe a couple of years down the lane. If that happens, we'll get there when we get there. But in my personal opinion, I would say that the stock tuners are perfectly fine. If you have, if you own this guitar and you've owned it longer than me, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now coming to things I have to critique or point out about this guitar and things that I sort of am not comfortable with. The first thing I have to highlight are the pickups. Now I know that this is a budget guitar and there's only that much you get for what you pay. And these pickups aren't necessarily the worst pickups in the market. It's just that they do not have an awful lot of dynamic range. So my suggestion, if you're looking for this guitar, you could probably go ahead and consider an upgrade. I have also done an upgrade on this, which we will talk about. And the reason I bring this topic up is not that I have a problem with Jackson. I think they make amazing guitars, but there are manufacturers out there who have, achieved the feat of giving good entry-level mid-range guitars with some really good stock pickups. And if I have to be perfectly honest here, I think Schecter gives some of the best stock pickups out there in the market of mid-range guitars. So the reason I highlight it is because if they can do it, pretty sure these guys can too. Another thing I'm not a very big fan of is the location of the three-way blade. So I don't know if you can see it here, but the three-way blade is located over here, and it is in sort of this horizontal position. And the problem I have with that is whenever I'm playing, I tend to use a lot of pickup selections and changes through my songs. So when I'm playing and I have to go ahead and make a change, it feels a little uncomfortable. I honestly would have preferred if this guy was positioned a little more, over here. And honestly, I would also prefer it if it were a toggle switch. However, not a deal breaker. If you're somebody who does not do a lot of changes in your pickup selection through songs, you're going to be fine with this. The third thing I have to highlight is the stock strings that come with this, and those are a 9 to 42 gauge. That is hilarious in my personal opinion, because this is a 7-string guitar, and you definitely want your strings to be a little chunkier. I don't know, man. I'd honestly suggest the moment you get this guitar, you'd probably just, swap it out. I have swapped them out for the Ernie Ball skinny top heavy bottom strings. I honestly prefer that gauge, and I'd recommend it too. So coming down to the modifications that I've made to this, as mentioned to you, this guitar is not completely stock. The first thing I did was I swapped out the stock pickups for Seymour Duncan's Black Winter set, and I'm totally in love with them. Now, what I really like about this set is, despite being, advertised for essentially metal music, they have a very, very high dynamic range. So if you're someone who wants to play metal and other genres, I think it's a perfect fit. Another thing that I have gone ahead and done is I have swapped out the stock knobs that came with this guitar. I swapped it with my bass guitar here, and I did that predominantly to accentuate the chrome elements. What you see here are hip shot saddles. So I bought a hip shot bridge from the used market, and I was planning to upgrade the bridge on this guitar. However, the problem that I faced was that the screws were not aligning. They were sort of overlapping one another, which means I'd have to putty the hole and re-drill over that, and I didn't want to deal with any of that. So I decided to keep the stock hardtail bridge that comes with this guitar, and I have just sort of swapped out the saddles. Now on paper, this should ideally give me more sustain and all of that, but I think in reality, you can do without it. I can barely hear the difference, to be honest. And finally, the biggest upgrade, I have introduced coil splitting or coil tapping. So each of my pickups, essentially if I pull the knobs, I am able to split the coils, and essentially what that means is I can play this humbucker like a single coil, one of them that you get on the Fender Strats. And what that means is I'm able to achieve this very classic sound, and it gives me a lot of versatility as well. So the reason I call this guitar my all-rounder is because not only can I play metal, but if I have to take like humbuckers, the pickup selections, and the coil splitting, I have a total of 8 playing modes that I can achieve. So I have on respective humbuckers on neck, I can play, humbucker, single coil. On the bridge, I've got humbucker, single coil, and in the middle, I have a choice of playing either humbucker, either one of them split, or I could even split both of them and I get a very unique sound. So just to give you an idea of what this coil splitting is and the kind of dynamic range it gives me, I've currently got it on a clean channel. It is on the bridge pickup, and currently it's in humbucker mode. And if I have to play this, essentially a riff, this is what you're going to hear. So that is the sound that it produces. Now if I take this and I split it, it's still on the same pickup selection, the same channel, And this is the difference that it gives me. So if you can hear it, there is that subtle difference, there is that thinness to, the tone, and it sounds very classic, very twangy, very Fendery, and that's what I like, because I like going into that direction, and I play a lot of acoustic, and I'm able to achieve that with this guitar. Another feat that I can achieve, if you want to play some old school balls to the wall metal, put it on a distortion channel and let it rip. So that of course is metal, but if I want to change it up and maybe play some rock, I'm on the same channel. All I do is I split up my coils, make minor changes to the volume, same channel, this is the sound I achieve. In summary, if I have to sum it up, if you are someone who likes to do a lot of riff work like I am, but you also want the comfort of speeding on your shreds and your solos, I think this is a great guitar to have. I am an absolute fan of the compound fretboard, and I'm pretty sure, if you get your hands on it, you might like it too. And apart from that, what makes this guitar stand out is it does have a few niggles, but if you are able to iron those out, look past them, or maybe do a couple of upgrades, this definitely can be the ultimate beast / all-round guitar. Probably the only guitar that you might need to own, because you're able to play classic rock, you're able to, split the coils, get that, classic Fender sound out of it, you're able to play metal, you're able to gent, pretty much do it all. The Seymour Duncan pickups, I had got it from the United States, so I did happen to pay a little lesser than what it is over here. So in case you have somebody coming down from the US, you definitely consider getting these. I think they are an extremely versatile and dynamic set of pickups, and don't let the name Black Winters fool you. These are great for metal and genres outside of it. That brings me to the end of this episode of Gear Chronicles. What did you think about it? What are your thoughts on all of this and the modifications? Let me know in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button along with the bell icon for more updates from us. We do music, originals, covers, skits, experiments. This is TUGGtv signing off. Until next time, stay metal.